So just a few months ago, we talked about how the David animated movie was actually taken from Angel Studios, and then 5 and 2 Studios, The Chosen, was able to pick it up. Now, this is an incredibly expensive movie. It is the number one crowd-funded project of all time, the number one audience-funded project of all time, basically in any genre, right? This is an incredibly important movie. It is going to do amazingly well in theaters, and it is going to be a movie that people look at for a very long time. This movie has had so much promo, from Tim Tebow to Dallas Jenkins to Angel Studios. There's so many people that have talked about this movie and had been hyping it up since 2019 that really, I do not think there is a way for this movie to fail. So when 5 and 2 got their hands on it, all of us were really excited to see, like, wow, even they believe in this movie. They're willing to jump on it and be the distributors for it. It's going to be amazing. And we knew that Angel Studios and Slingshot were having some legal disputes behind the scenes, and it seemed like Angel had really dropped the ball on this one, to be honest with you. However, a couple of days ago, Angel Studios drops this.
There's a light I've always followed when I'm looking for the way, when I'm searching for the answer. All
right, so I'm not gonna play all the music here, but this is one of the songs from the David animated movie. And in fact, throughout this entire thing, you're gonna see in the bottom right-hand corner that there is a date that it's gonna come out, and it's connected to Angel Studios. And in fact, Phil Wickham has collaborated on this specific YouTube video to post it with Angel Studios. If you don't know, Phil Wickham is the voice for the older David that is in the movie at a later point here. And so here we see that they obviously have some sort of connection to this. It looks amazing. It looks exactly as great as I was hoping that it would from a lot of the stuff that we've seen over the years. And I'm really excited for this, but why is Angel putting this out if 5 and 2 Studios are the ones that have control of it? You guys can go check out this song that they put out. I think it's a really well done song. Later on, you're going to see David as he grows up, and you see him here as he is a little bit older with Jonathan here, who of course is the son of King Saul. And you see David and him kind of fighting back and forth. This is the voice of Phil Wickham as he's kind of a little bit older here. Now, what happened here? Well, at the same time this dropped, there was an article that dropped as well. And this is exactly what happened. So we get Angel and 2521 Entertainment acquire the David franchise from Slingshot USA. So somehow, even through the legal disputes, even through all the different things, Angel Studios is able to acquire the entire franchise. This is pretty incredible because Slingshot was going to war for this film. They were going to war for the franchise and the IP overall. But somehow Angel Studios is able to acquire it. I mean, they must have forked up a lot of money, okay? A lot of money. So let's talk about this. So Angel Studios, an unprecedented technology company, this is their own press release. You can't say that about yourself. Angel Studios, the best company in the world. Okay, anyways. Angel Studios, an unprecedented technology company driven by 1.5 million grassroots Angel Guild members championing values-based stories, today announced that the company has partnered with 2521 Entertainment to acquire the David franchise from Slingshot USA. David is an animated film and television series based on the biblical story of the shepherd boy chosen to defeat Goliath and inspire his nation. One of Angel's most highly anticipated films, David, will be released in theaters December 19th, 2025. Okay, so that's the very short version. The very short version is they acquired it, okay? And in here, they don't really talk about too much else, okay? They don't talk really a lot about like what happened or how this like came about, what was happening with the legal disputes and all that kind of stuff. It's really hard to say, okay? Here we can see the animated film and accompanying 5-part television series, which is the Young David series, which we talked about before with Angel, were produced by the same studio and and director of Young David, a highly successful animated series that enjoyed some of the highest Angel Guild approval ratings ever recorded. Angel will explore producing additional episodes of the David animated television series to extend the popular franchise. So it looks like Angel Studios has control of the entire IP, not just the movie, but the entire franchise of what the whatever David animated thing is, right? This thing from Slingshot. So it's possible in the future, Slingshot and the studios that worked with them to produce David could be working with Angel in order to produce more stuff in the future. Okay, this is so interesting. Okay, so moving on from this article, it doesn't have that much information, okay? Obviously, they think the David movie is going to do incredibly well. I also think the David movie is going to do incredibly well. Even Dallas was super excited about this movie and how they were going to be able to be a part of it, right? He still wants to work with the other director in the future. Now, let's talk about it from Dallas's point of view after looking at Angel's point of view. Of course, Angel isn't going to mention any of the legal stuff. They don't want to talk about any of that, right? Of course, they're not going to talk about 5 and 2 Studios having ownership of it at one point, or wanting to distribute it at least. They're not going to talk about any of that, right? But Dallas here gives us a little bit more of a candid kind of look into what he's talking about here. So here's this. But real quick, before we get to that, let me tell you that we're retiring one of our merch collections over on the store, snipelifeshop.com. You can go over here and check out our Miracles collection, which has the Water to Wine, Multiply, Magdala, and Communion, both in a shirt or a sweater here, perfect for wintertime. But we're going to be taking these down within the next week. So if you guys want to get these, this is your last chance. You can use code MIRACLE at checkout for 15% off, and that will get you a little bit of a discount there to help you with shipping or whatever else. So if you guys want to get this is your last chance to grab them before we get rid of them on the site. Of course, we're going to do more stuff in the future, but this is your last chance to get these. So go ahead and check these out if you want to grab them and get that 15% off with code MIRACLE at checkout. Just wanted to remind you of that before we got into this next section of the video. Let's continue on. Here we go.
Well, the Lord gives and the Lord takes away. As you may have heard, the David movie, the David animated movie, is back with Angel Studios, not with us. And Angel Studios is going to be releasing the David animated movie later this year. And you might be going, wait a second. You guys made an announcement that you had the David movie, that you were going to be releasing it. And yeah, that was true. And it's a long story, and I'm not going to give all the details and all that, but
legally he might not be able to get all the details, or maybe relationally he doesn't want to give all the details. But you can tell here that Dallas is not like, this is obviously something that was sprung on them. It wasn't something that was like, hey, this is coming down the road and we're going to have to talk about it eventually. This was clearly something that was like a decision that was made very quickly, obviously without talking to Dallas, most likely. And then we see this here, right? Where you can tell he's dejected, right? There's obviously this is difficult. This is not a fun time. So be praying for Dallas for sure.
Long story short, the company that has the rights to the David movie, part of our deal included that they were trying to potentially sell to someone else. And if they were able to do that within this window of time, then they could, if they wanted, if they so chose, get out of the deal that they had with us. And we found out yesterday that that's what took place. And apparently it had been in the works for a while. And because the moment it happened, it was like announcements were made and trailers were released. And so,
yeah, so that's what he's talking about with Angel Studios, is the second that it happened, Angel Studios was ready to put out a press release, to put out a trailer, to put out everything to say, hey, we have this movie now. It's done. It's a done deal, right? And so that's exactly what they did. They made it very, very, very public immediately when it happened, right? Which is their total right to do. They own it at that point, right? They're totally in the right to do that. So some sort of executive body behind Slingshot, behind the movie that owned the IP of David, decided that they no longer wanted to go through this legal battle. They no longer wanted to wait for 5 and 2 to kind of approve what was going to come out for the David animated movie. They just wanted to get this done now and to get that money back now, right? A lot of things come back to money, right? You don't want to sit on this movie too long knowing that it could be out. Instead, you'd have to wait for it to come out or finish certain things or change certain things, as Dallas is going to talk about here in a second. But it definitely comes down to money, right? For these executives, they're like, okay, what is the best thing for us? Is it to go through this legal battle and fight Angel Studios until the end of the universe and then our movie never comes out? Or do we just sell it to them, take the money that we can, and, leave? I don't know. I'd probably make the same decision if I was in their spot, depending on what the money looks like, right? It's got to be a really difficult situation to be in, for everybody involved, and obviously here for 5 and 2 Studios as well.
The people who have purchased the project wanted it with Angel, and so it's with Angel. So there you have it. So there's nothing nefarious between Angel and us. We've actually come to some agreements about some of our history, and so unless something changes somehow in the future, there's no legal battles going on.
This is a really kind of a throwaway comment that is actually really important, because last we had talked with Dallas, that he talked on a live stream in Italy. He said that there was another legal battle going on with Angel Studios. So now there's nothing going on with Angel Studios at all. So that means that they've settled all these things behind the scenes, and either come to an agreement of something. And, obviously it's over now, right? Which means, that The Chosen is no longer like having to deal with legal stuff with Angel, which is a good thing as well. He doesn't really go into it at all. I'm sure maybe legally he can't go into it at all, but that is a really good thing that we're hearing there, that there's no longer a legal battle between Angel Studios and The Chosen, which is awesome.
And honestly, I really do. I have 100% peace about this. I believe that God dictates the steps in these situations, and clearly this movie is with Angel Studios now, and was with Angel Studios originally, and we're not supposed to release it. So, okay, it's not a Chosen project. It's not a 5 and 2 Studios project, and I'm okay with that, genuinely, truly. And so, if there was some confusion about,
I get that that's true, but at the same time, you can definitely see how disappointed he is, and I think he's allowed to be. I definitely think he's allowed to be disappointed. I think 5 and 2 Studios would have done an amazing job with it, and like Dallas is going to say here, they may have even made some changes to the movie as well.
About it, and if you were ever confused about it, certainly wasn't our intention. It's not going to change the movie. I think if we were involved, we probably would have made some adjustments and whatnot, but
which would have made the movie come out later, right? Which is one of the reasons why the kind of executives behind the scenes probably wanted there to be, a faster sort of transition there, if that makes sense. So yeah, if 5 and 2 Studios was going to take even longer to put out the movie, then the best thing for them to do is probably to sell it, in order for them to just get this movie out if they thought it was good enough, right? I do wonder what changes 5 and 2 Studios would have made, though.
They don't want to do that, and they want to get it out fast. I think we would have certainly taken more time with it. And so the director of the movie, or the person who created this project, Phil Cunningham, is amazing, and I want to work with him again. And I want his movie to impact people because he's great. And so your experience is not going to be a whole lot different, other than you're going to see a movie, if you want to see it, of course. It's going to be through Angel Studios now. So, not with us. Okay. Great. We've got plenty to work on, and I think God is probably telling us Focus on the things you've already got. So our Joseph miniseries is filming right now. I'm working on that. The animated series, The Chosen Adventures, is coming very quickly to Prime Video. I'm editing season 6, right? We're writing season 7 and developing a couple other things. So this is what we're focused on. It's not going to be the David animated movie anymore, and that's okay. So anyway, that's the clarity of it. I'm sure if you haven't seen yet, you'll see more announcements about that in the near future, but
anyway, so that is what Dallas says here. Obviously, you can tell he's dejected. Obviously, you can tell that he's not, the happiest about that news. I'm sure he was excited not only to work with this movie, but to get to work with somebody like Phil Wickham, who he loves, and Phil, who he loves, who was the director of it. And so there's a lot of people in that he really was looking forward to working with as well. So that's a big piece of it. Now, I can't help but kind of think about the other side of this with Angel Studios, right? There's a piece of this that's like, yeah, they're kind of getting back at The Chosen, right? Like, obviously they've been trying to do that for years with these different legal battles and things that are happening behind the scenes, these arbitrations and whatnot. But this is the first time that they've really won, here. They've really come out on top with something that maybe The Chosen didn't really want, and they did want, right? And so this is a very timely comment, Robert. I'll put this up on screen. Yes, this is exactly kind of some of the stuff I was thinking. Did they make this purchase with some of the money they got from going public? So if you don't know, Angel Studios has gone public. Now, a lot of that money, a lot of that stock price has gone down quite a lot since the opening. Then it's kind of fluctuated back up and down and up and down, obviously, like stock prices do. However, obviously they would have had a huge influx of money into the company, selling a lot of their stock and doing different things like that in order to have a large amount of capital in order to work with, to do things exactly like this, to have the money to make exactly this move. And so maybe, I don't know. I don't know, but maybe this was all part of the plan, Maybe this is exactly what they wanted to do with going public, is to do a big move like this. Remember last year, they had the biggest movie of the year in terms of animated movies, basically the biggest opening of any animated movie ever. Some of that has to do with the tactics of how they get to people to sell tickets in that first weekend, some of the contests and different things that they do there. But King of Kings was a massive success for them on that opening weekend, and obviously doing what it did over there. And so they acquired that movie just like they did with David, and the previous movie that they acquired as well. They've acquired a bunch of different movies, but the other biggest movie that they've previously acquired in the previous year was Sound of Freedom, which again did over $100 million in the box office and was definitely their biggest success of all time. So these three acquisitions that Angel Studios has done has paid off tremendously for them. And the David animated movie is no slouch. It is going to be one of, if not the best biblically animated movie of all time. I really, truly believe that. I think it's going to be insanely amazing. And so now Angel Studios has control of that. So like it or not, right? No matter what your thought process is on Angel, they have cemented themselves as one of the people who are the controllers of biblical media. And so us being biblical media sleuths here on the channel, we have to be aware of that. So whether you love Angel or you hate Angel, we're going to have Angel in the court, They're going to have to be a part of the conversation at some level because they keep on making moves like this, acquiring the David movie, having having Testament on their platform is another huge one for this channel. So we have to take those things with a grain of salt, right? Doesn't mean that just because you like or dislike Angel that you should go see David or you shouldn't go see David. No, not necessarily, right? I think that you should make that decision for yourself if you want to go watch the movie. I think it's going to be really amazing, and I think it's going to be great for a younger audience to learn more about the Bible, especially if Dallas and the rest of the team over at 5 and 2 thought it was going to be worth it for them to distribute it. that means that it's really good, guys. If everybody agrees that this is a great movie, then it's a great movie. And so regardless of that, this is kind of where it sits with it, right? Yeah, lots of interesting things here. I was not expecting this news at all this week, and it's pretty insane. I mean, like I said, that movie crowdfunded $64 million. $64 million crowdfunded. And then whatever they spent on top of that, right? Whatever they needed to do to, market it the way that they did. Obviously, this is a movie that so many people are behind. And the way that it looks, the way that it sounds, I mean, the music in it seems really amazing. Just the visuals of it. I'll play a little bit of that trailer again, but man, it's beautiful. I mean, it looks awesome. This is the successor to Prince of Egypt in my eyes, like it looks great. I'm looking forward to it. For me personally, we've talked about this before, but like this animation looks 1,000 times better than The Chosen Adventures to me. It's just not my favorite type of animation, but this looks like something I could really enjoy. And so, yeah, I don't know, man. I have a lot of thoughts. I have a lot of feelings. I'm looking forward to the future of what this looks like. I really, truly do hope that this does well. I hope that we get more movies like this in the biblical space, that we keep on seeing the explosion of biblical media, not only for my job's sake, but also because I love it and I want the people around me to have great quality media to be able to watch without having to worry about all this craziness in the world. There's a lot of questions that I have around that and hopes that I have for that, but I don't know. We'll see how this goes. I imagine Phil Wickham is making a lot of money off of this as well. And that he's going to be promoting the heck out of this. So with as popular as Phil Wickham is as well, I'm sure that this is going to be a huge success there too. So congrats to Angel. No matter how things have gone in the past, they are obviously going to be winning here. And they're obviously doing something special with this movie. I really hope it goes well. I hope there is success here. That's my thoughts. All right. Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below, as I'm sure that you will. And we'll see you guys on the next one. Peace.